Hey guys, Gemma from ASD Rocks. So I have been asked by a gazillion, I think that's a word, by like heaps of people to talk about siblings today. Everybody sort of seemed to really respond to Finn's absolute gorgeousness in his reaction to Bo leaving yesterday. And my comments that they're there's such a lovely relationship between the two of them, or we have problems with this and that, and I said, it's completely done by me. I intentionally created this relationship between these two boys. I did it regardless of Bo's autism. I did it because my sister and I were you just couldn't get a person that hated me more in this world from the day I was born than my sister. And that never changed. It got worse over time. As a baby, she hated me, blamed me for things, little things that, the stories I hear. What really distresses me about the stories I hear about the things that happened when I was young is not my sister's behaviour, because I think that, a child will only behave within the parameters that a parent lets them behave within. So, when I was in a bouncer in one of those, remember those oldie times, ye olden day crochet bouncers. It was basically thin piece of wire with like fully crocheted, I swear it was. And every time the baby moved, it would go doing, doing. And I was in one of those, and my sister came in with something to the room that I was in, and my mum walked in, I don't know, half an hour later or something like that, and there was like half a jar of lollies, all finished, all gone. And my sister and my mum was like, "Oh, what's happened?" And straight away my sister said, "Oh, Gemma did it." Like, I was 6 months old, I didn't have teeth. But, and these are the sorts of stories that my mother thought were hysterical. "Oh, Gemma did it." But she never saw the warnings. She never saw the warning signs that this may actually lead to this young person's development of blaming other people and getting away with it. Similar situation. My sister asked for two $5 notes. Someone had given us some money, $5 each, for a gift. I don't know what it was, when it was. And my mother put the two $5 notes on top of the fridge. And my sister apparently asked, "Can I have a look at the fridge? Can I have a look at the money?" And so my mum got the two notes down. My sister had a look at them. Back day, it was all in paper. They were $5 notes. Yes, this was back when we had 1 and 2 cent coins. And she was looking at these $5 notes, and in an attempt to put them back up, she threw them back up to the top of the fridge, and one of the notes went down the back of the fridge, and she turned to my mother and instantly said, "Oh, Gemma's $5 note has gone down the back of the fridge." Like, it wasn't hers, it was mine that went down the back of the fridge. Now, this instantly is red flags to a parent. To notice what is going on straight away, that there needs to be some very, very strict boundaries put down straight away, because not only did she become physically violent, and insanely manipulative. She would break something. We would be playing. We would only ever play when she wanted to play, and I always had to play the character that she didn't want to play, or whatever it happened to be. And something broke, and she had knocked it over, and my father was furious about it. He was absolutely, and so he was like, who did it? And of course I didn't do it, so I didn't say it was me, but my sister didn't do it either, and my sister did it, but she didn't say it was her. And so no one was answering, which was pissing my dad off really badly. So he sent us both into a room and said, you can't come out until someone comes and says, you know, that who did it. And we both went into this room, and she was like, you say you did it. And I was like, oh, but I didn't do it. And she was older than me, and you know, she had, you know, I don't think I really got street smart or even wise. I just loved her so much. I just idolized her. I really did. I just wanted to be a part of her life, and she just wanted nothing to do with me. So any time that she did want me to be involved in her life was like just it just meant the world to me. So she said, oh, they like you more, you know, you say you do it, you won't get in as much trouble as I will. And I was like, oh, I don't think they do. I don't think that's how it works. And she said, I'll tell you what, if you say that you did it, I'll be your best friend. Well, that was it for me. I mean, I was prepared. I would have done it. For her to be my best friend would have been amazing. You know, I mean, it used to be like a slogan we used to use as kids. Oh, dear, I'll be your best friend. But I really, really thought she would be my best friend. So I went out and I said that I did it, and I copped a massive hiding. Now, these events, firstly, are all the fault of the parent, as I see it. Firstly, you do not put, you know, like 2 kids in a room to work out, for one to manipulate the other one into saying I did it. You know, it just, you can't. Even if it's not age, the one that has a better grasp on manipulation, on bullying, you're basically encouraging that bullying. And I knew that when I had kids, I knew that whatever I did not want my kids to have a relationship like my sister and I had. Because as we got bigger, it got worse. As we got bigger, she got stronger. And I think I only remember once ever fighting back, actually physically fighting back. I used to just take my beatings and that would be it. But once I fought back, and instead, I remember because I was on a couch and she was on top of me just wailing on me, and I used my foot to push her back and push her off, and she was so not expecting it that she flew back and she fell over on her bum. And I remember in my mind's eye seeing this shocked look on her face, like, oh my God. And then that shock just flashed, turned to, oh, you're fucked now. So I learned very quickly not to fight back, because at least if I took a beating, it would be over and it would be finished. And whereas if I fought back, it was far, far worse. So I knew from day one when I had my kids that I wanted to make sure that they didn't have. So what would happen often, missing a whole point here, the really, really important thing is, once again, I don't blame my sister at all for this. This is her nature. This is who she is. What I blame my parents, because it was their job to be the protector. I used to go to my mother all the time and I used to say, you know, this has happened or that's happened or this happened, whatever it happened to be. And she used to say the same thing every time. Gemma, I wasn't there. I didn't see it. I can't judge on it, right? I wasn't there. I didn't see it. I can't. How can I get her in trouble for something you may have gone in and, I don't know, bruised yourself, cut yourself, whatever it was. I wasn't there. What do you want me to do? And it wasn't actually until the last few years that I realized how wrong that sentence is. Not how wrong that sentence is in the sense of coming from her, but how actually incorrect it is when it comes to the way our society is structured. Example, I had to go to court probably about 7 odd years ago on, as you all know, a very serious sexual assault. And I had made a statement. It was actually years after the actual court case. Believe it or not, even though they didn't find the guy, I still had to go to court to prove myself innocent because I had chosen to press charges, because they made it known to me that I could, right, you've made your report, now you can, we've got the DNA, now you can leave it from there, and if, something comes up in the future, we've got his DNA and we'll be able to match it to this report, or you can pursue. Now, if you do pursue, you're going to end up in court, and if we do find him, it's your character that's going to come under assassination. And it scared the shit out of me. I mean, like, who doesn't have closets? Who doesn't have skeletons in the closet? I couldn't even think of what it was that they would use against me. In court, I've been going to therapy for over 14 years because Bo's, got autism. The things that I've told and said and, the things that have happened to me, I was terrified. But I decided, no, what this guy did was too well practiced. It was too well practiced. He knew what he was doing and he was going to do it to someone else, and I was not prepared to let that happen. So I went to court, and the judge, and I was sitting there with my lawyer, and no person who like, no accused, no respondent, because they didn't find him, even with all the CCTV and all that sort of stuff. And I got called up to the stand. So I did the whole, had to swear in and everything. It was surreal. It's the first time I've ever been to court like that. Actually, not true, but I was very, very young. A man tried to abduct me. Another joyful thing to my world. There you go. Anyway, and the judge looked at me and he said to me, "Can you please tell me what happened?" He said, "I've got your statement here. Can you please tell me what happened?" And I kind of freaked out because I was sort of like, well, if you've got the statement there, why are you asking? Anyway, so I began to tell him what had happened, and I became quite emotional, telling the story of how it all began. And ultimately, what he wanted to do was he just wanted to hear me say it. He needed to judge my character. He needed to see who I was. There are a lot of women, like it or not, whether you're going to like this, there are taking advantage of the system. There are a lot of women out there lying. There are a lot of women saying, just to get back on their skanky boyfriends that, and this is corrupting our family violence courts anyway, or whatever courts. Anyway, as soon as he heard me speak and as soon as he heard me start to tell a story, he said, "Stop." He said, "I'm happy to take it as the statement. Thank you very much." You're going to start wondering, why is this relevant to how you raise your children? And I'm about to tell you the exact point. He then turned to me and he said to me, "I am so sorry that this happened to you. Now, there's not much I can do for you legally. What do you want?" I mean, so the way that the courts work is how violated you are has a monetary amount in compensation that you are allowed to spend on getting a gate or this or whatever it is. And I said, I didn't even know I was going to be asked, what do I want? What do I want? I want it not to have happened. You can't do that. Okay. I said, I want therapy. I want therapy for the rest of my life. There is no way I want this. I don't want this. Now, you guys know I still have PTSD. It's been years and years and years, but you don't know how much better I am than I was. You don't know how much better I am than I was. And I said, I just want to live a life again. I just want therapy, and I'm good. I'm happy. And he was like, granted. Now, right at that moment, I realized that this is how our society is structured. We, as parents, are judges and juries. He was not there when this happened to me. He listened to what happened, he read what happened, he took the evidence, and he made a judgment and a decision. He didn't put his hands up and say, I wasn't there, I didn't see it, sorry, I can't rule on this. That is our job as parents. As parents, we are there to keep the law within our family, to keep justice within our family and protect our children. Now, which child you protect will alter. It has to alter because we're talking about kids with ASD. And what our ultimate goal is here, I've been talking for 15 minutes, I'm only just getting on to the bit about the kids. What our ultimate goal is to create a relationship where the shadow children, the non-autistic, the ones that have been dragged for literally their whole life, or worse, if they're older, knew what a life was like without having an autistic child and gets resentment because they're not getting the attention anymore, which I think, possibly happened to my sister where she was getting all the attention before, regardless of whether I was autistic or not. So I think we have to be really, really wary when we have a second child, regardless of disability or not. But the pinnacle moment for us, so I was there full time. I was doing 24 hours a day. You've seen the videos, or you should have seen, and if you haven't, go back and watch the videos of the home therapies when Finn was born. Notice, right, how I am always there. I'm on top of it. I'm listening to Bo's trigger sounds, and while I'm allowing Finn into his space, I am also watching every single second of it. And then I am instructing Bo how to, instead of just squealing and starting a meltdown, I say to Bo, if you don't want Finn to touch it, you have to say, no, Finn, no, Finn. It's in there. It's in I think it's the home therapies for 2 to 4 year olds. Now, Finn, like so many younger children, or maybe just like me, idolized Bo from the day he was born. He just was like, oh my God, you're the coolest thing I've ever seen. Now, Bo was, he doesn't like people coming into his space, and Finn would go up and he would just want to give him a hug, or Finn would go, babies are so unaware of personal space and all of that sort of stuff. And I had to watch and manage that all the time. It was part of speech therapy, occupational therapy, sibling therapy. Okay? So Finn came up to me one day, so as they both got older, as it does, Finn became verbal, Bo still less so, but when we went to speech therapy, and I always went in with speech therapy, afterwards we would always go and get something special, for Finn, well done, Finn, or something, a reward for Finn for being so cool and sitting through therapy of this and that, and, pediatricians and hours in waiting rooms and all those things that we all know about. Or I would pack a special little bag and I would say, because we're talking about a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, we're talking about toddlers, and we're asking so much of these shadow children. So I would always make sure that I had something, you know what, Finn, you have been super amazing today. What can we do? What can we get for you? Should we put a special movie on for you? Or let's go down and get even if it's a $5, video game, a cartoon or whatever it is that we used to buy from JB Hi-Fi. I know that's very old technology and everything, but you absolutely have to recognize, and then you condition that child to almost look forward to speech therapy or occupational therapy or whatever, because that's like, oh, I'm going to get something cool. Now, yes, that's using reward behavior, but it works. You're not rewarding him for being bad. You're not rewarding him for, doing the wrong things. It is rewarding behavior. It's rewarding the correct behavior that you need in your life. And what behavior is that? Hard to know. You've got to take these and apply them to your world. Now, there was one pinnacle point where they had their first fight. And when I say they had their first fight, I mean, I was in the other room. I was in the study trying to build a business because I had to try and build a business from home because I couldn't leave home because I had Bo was going to Southern Autistic School 3 times a week, easily 3 times a week. It may have been holidays, I can't remember, but they were both home, and I was on the phone to someone who was an elderly woman. And the door was closed to the study like it is now, but I always had my ear out. And so Finn would have only been around about 3, and Bo would have been 5.5, coming on 6. Still fairly nonverbal, and I heard this sound that I hadn't heard before, and it was sort of like this, but it was both of them, but I was on the phone and I couldn't do anything about it, and I was desperately trying to get off the phone, and I could hear it building and building and building out there, and I was like, oh my God, and I was so trying to get off the phone, but generally the elderly do like to have a chat. So do I, but not in this case. I really was trying to get off the phone. So I finally got off the phone, and I walk and I bolt out the door, and there are Bo and Finn on top of each other. They've both got something, some toy, something they're grabbing onto, right? And they're holding on to, they're both holding on, and one of them is on top of the other one. Honestly, I don't remember which one it was, but they were both, one was on top of the other, and they were crying, not crying, but like grunting and pulling and trying to pull it off each other. I lost it. I grabbed one by the hair. I literally grabbed one by the hair, lifted him off. I grabbed the other by the arm. I nearly pulled the arm out of the socket. I was going to display that this behavior was not acceptable. It was not happening in this house. I swear I carried one child by the hair and put him in the pantry, which was opposite the laundry. I grabbed the other child whose shoulder joint no doubt needed to be reset and put him in the laundry, and I left the doors open. And I said, that is it. You guys don't get to be brothers anymore. You don't get to play with each other anymore. Oh, you thought that by being brothers, that just gave you the right to be able to play with each other, to talk to each other? Nuh-uh. I'm the mum in this house. What goes is my rule. You are not allowed to talk to each other. You are not allowed to play with each other. From now on, you will be in separate rooms. You can play by yourselves, but there will be no playing together, no talking to each other. I am cutting off the brother. You're not brothers anymore. And I let that rest. And Finn lost his shit. Give me back my brother. And he's got his arms out for Bo, crying for his brother. I want my brother, give me back my brother. And Bo sees Finn reaching out for him and crying for him. And Bo starts, I can't tell you how much comprehension. I can't tell you exactly what happened, with Bo, But both started screaming, Finn, Finn. And I was standing between them and none of them were prepared. None of them would budge without my say-so. And I let that go on and I said, no. If that is what's going to happen, no. You do not. Being brothers, playing together is a privilege. Being together is a privilege. You think that just because you're brothers, that's going to be for the rest of your life, you'll always have each other's back. Oh, you'll always... Bullshit. It's not true. It's not true. You think that the label brother makes it any better? It doesn't. It can be taken away from you just as easily as anything else. And I let that sit. And I let them feel the danger of losing each other. I let them feel the reality of what it would actually feel like if one of them was taken away, if one of them died, if one of them was gone, rather than taking each other for granted, that they will always be there together, that they will always have each other's back. It's not the case. You know, how many siblings have lost brothers or sisters, you know, to car accidents or whatever it happens to be, and no matter how much they fought, wished to God's earth that they could take that back, or that just for another day with them. How many, you know, I mean, you have to let them know what it would actually be like to not have that person in your life and to have that taken away from you. And I let it sit for a long time. I took them out. I said, no, I took them out. I said, you can go up now. You can go into each of your rooms and you can go and play on your own. I don't want to hear about it. You know I'm working. I'll check on you. Do either of you want anything to eat? No, you can't eat together. No, you can't watch TV together. No, you can't play your video games together. You are now not brothers. And I let it run. And I let it run for ages. And each of them came to me separately and said to me, please, you have to give me my brother back. And Finn came to me and he said, you know, that was my birthday present. That was my birthday present. And he said, and I should have been allowed to play with it, and I don't think that's fair. And I said, you know what, mate? I said, you are right. It's not fair. It is. You're right. It's not fair. Now suck it the fuck up, Buttercup, because it's not fair that Bo has autism, and it's not fair that he doesn't understand that it's your birthday present. Welcome to the world. It's a shitty lesson to learn at 3 years old. But I promise you, I will do everything I can to try and make it as fair as possible. But the truth is, it's not fair, and you are right. And he went off, digested that as much as a 3-year-old can. I think we really underestimate how much our children, how smart our shadow children are. And after a while, I let them come back together. I called them both in and I said, now, I said, it's your choice. I said, because we're not going through this again. This won't happen again. I said, I've been thinking about it for a while, and I will consider allowing you boys to be brothers again and play again. I said, but you only get one chance, because once I put in the paperwork that it actually, you know, that you then don't get to be brothers or whatever it happens to be, I said it can't be undone. So do you want to be brothers? Do you want to look after each other? Do you want to protect each other? Do you want to be there for each other? Do you want to play with each other, love each other? And the answer from both of them was yes. And you should have seen the way they held each other. Was like, it was like, I don't know why the only thing that comes to my mind is two sisters that had been separated during the Holocaust or something and finally found each other again. They held onto each other like they had been separated for years. About 2 days later, by the way, just as a side thing, we haven't had a fight since. We have not had a fight since, especially not a physical fight. Sure, we've had the beginnings of an argument, but again, I've always been there. But we have never had a physical fight since, and we have never had a full-blown argument. Not at all. And I have made sure from that day that I have nurtured that relationship, nurtured it. So, for example, and I'll get on to the negatives of this relationship as well. But so then a couple of days later, I don't know, Bo was at school. Finn still wasn't at school. He was only 3. And I went up to him and I said, all right, dude, let's go. It's time to get your hair cut. And he was like, and I said, so what do you want? And he went, I want a blue mohawk. And I went, I'm sorry, what? Like, you're 3. How do you even know what a blue mohawk is? Like, seriously, how do you even know what a blue mohawk is? And he's like, oh, it's on Lego Villains something. It was someone out of Lego video game. And I was like, blue mohawk? He's 3. I mean, maybe if I let him get a blue mohawk, he'll grow out of it. And he looked up at me and he said, you know what, Mum? He said, I don't mind if I can't have anything of my own. He said, I don't mind if I have to share everything. My birthday presents, my toys, even my clothes come from Bo. He said, but my hair is something that no one can take away from me. Well, I had that kid in a blue mohawk within seconds flat. And then I made sure that he got that every year. Every year that he got that, he got the change, he got to have as many as he wanted. It was his. He had something that was his. And yes, he turned it eventually into an autism awareness thing, because when he was a little kid, you know, people would sort of go, oh, you know, what's that all about? And the answer, my brother has autism, so I got a blue mohawk, didn't make sense to other people. Was just too hard. And then, yeah, it turned into an autism awareness thing, and now he loves it. He loves doing it for autism awareness, and he loves bringing autism awareness. And, of course, it's gone from a simple blue mohawk to 6.5 hours of sitting in, you know, a chair for Autism Awareness Day, as you know. Okay, so on top of that, we would have Mum and Finn Day. Mum and Finn night. Mum and Finn event. Actually, I've got all my photos here and I'll see if I can try and find it. So from that day, I knew that Finn needed to, so it's going to take a fair while for it to find all of these. Finn needed to have something of his own, because he was missing out on Christmas. Not missing out on Christmas, but Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, all that sort of stuff. All that stuff that because I always felt like, well, if I lied to Bo, because I did one on lying the other day, white lies, truths, untruths, Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, Oh, it should be right around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy. You know, where's the white lie? Where's the fine line? Where do you go? Because my idea of what happens when he finds out I've been lying to him all this time, is he going to turn around and say, you lied to me. You told me there was an Easter bunny and I just found out there isn't. You told me that there was a Santa Claus and I just found out there isn't. What else can't I trust you with? So I made the decision. They still got Christmas presents. They still got to do Easter egg hunts. But they knew it was from us, right? They just knew it was from us. Christmas was still special. It was still a great time. They still got the presents. They just didn't get anything from Santa, you know? So, yeah, I'm going to just turn this around. So after the blue mohawk, let's see if I can turn this around. After the blue mohawk, I'm going to see where okay, it's very hard for me to see what I'm doing. We got the pink one. But what I want to show you is straight away, I started taking him out. From the age of 3, I took him out. That's the lobster cave that we went to. Got dressed up in his little 3-piece suit. And they bring out shots at the end. He got apple juice, obviously. I can't see what you can see at all. I can't, if I'm even showing you. But yeah, he got apple juice. And then I said to him, hey, Finn, tell the waiter, because he loved the seafood platter. And I said, tell the waiter that, you know, please pass the compliments on to the chef, because it was so nice. And so Finn was like, okay. So we passed the compliments on to the chef, and the waiter came back out and he was like, would you like to tell the chef yourself? And Finn was like, what? And so they took him out. Even I didn't get to go into the kitchen. And God only knows what they said. There's this like 3-year-old with a pink mohawk that wants to pass his compliments on to the chef. I can't even imagine it. But, you know, I treated it like it was out, and he went into the kitchen and he got to see the chef and he said, thank you for dinner. It was really, really nice. And God only knows what happened there. I couldn't tell you. But I knew that I had to do something extra. And you know that Finn and I have Mum and Sundays. The only time that I haven't done it is during COVID, because we couldn't get out. But I will usually organise, as he's gotten older, the same way that his hairstyles have gotten bigger and greater, so have our Mum and Sundays. I mean, the lobster cave is pretty freaking good with a pink mohawk for a 3-year-old. How do you keep getting bigger from that? Well, you saw the other day, I took him to the theatre. We go fine dining. We don't go to McDonald's. Yeah, we get dressed up. The more effort you put into something, the more they feel like it is a big thing. I spent a fortune one night. This would be 4 years ago. This would probably be exactly 4 years ago. And I bought not tickets. I reserved at a per head charge for New Year's Eve a spot for Finn and I under the fireworks at Waterfront. Now this cost me $500. It was an expensive night, and it was so it's 40. So yeah, he was about 8 or 9, and we got dressed up again. I'll show you. I've got the cutest photos of it all when we went out. But it was a 4-hour seating. It It was a 4-hour seating because it was 8 o'clock seating, and then you had to wait till 12 o'clock, which was the whole point, which was literally, so we had seats underneath on the Yarra, exactly where all the fireworks were going off. So all the place was like totally crowded. Everyone was packing in there the way they used to before COVID existed. And we sat there for, dressed up to the absolute hilt. Because again, we're going to a beautiful restaurant. You don't go to a beautiful restaurant in jeans. Here we go. Hold on. No. That's the house. August. Okay, August. December. We must be, there it is. Oh my God, look how cute. Please ignore my legs at the top there. Okay, so I can't see again what you're seeing. So this here, this was us. Look at him in his tie. He's got a little, it's not a begonia. It starts with a M, and I'll remember the name of it in a second. Really beautiful smell. He would have special mocktails, breadsticks. Look at the little gentleman. Look at the little gentleman. I mean, he really, little Hugh Hefner. But, it was our time. It was our time. I can't see what you're seeing or if I'm pointing in the right. And so, also other things, he got other things as well. One day he came back and he wanted a first stole, right? God only knows why. And I said to him, why? Why do you want a first stole? And he was like, can you see? Am I pointing it? Hold on, I can't see if I'm doing, where's my hand? There, hello, hand. Anyway, and he said, I want a first stole. And I was like, why do you want a first stole? And he said, I want to put it, how awesome and fluffy would it be? I want to put it around around my coat. I want to sew it onto my coat. And I said, dude, by the time that first stole fits you, you'll have grown out of 15 coats. And he's like, well, so I'll sew buttons onto it and then I'll sew loops and I'll do it that way. And I was like, you know what? Rock on, do it. I think you should do it. And as an example, when Bo and Finn played, I was there. I was always listening. I was listening for that point, and I was constantly going in and saying, okay, Finn, he's had enough now. Can you hear that sound? That's the sound, he's had enough. And then Finn started recognizing those sounds. And then the other day, so he understands what I'm talking about triggering these things. And now when his friends come over, I turn around to Finn and I say, I don't mind if Bo plays. Finn's friends freaking love Bo. He's an older brother, which I think a lot of younger brothers, all they ever want to do is just have the time and play with their older brothers. And yet he's an older brother that is totally their age level, if not a bit younger. So I say to him, it's fine if he plays, but you have to listen out for those trigger points, those trigger moments. So now, it's almost like he's now protecting Bo and he's understanding what my role was. And that's why when he left yesterday, it was taken out of his control for the first time. That's why yesterday, because now, for the last few years, he's the one that's been in control with that. I'm like, sure, I don't mind if you go out. I don't mind if Bo plays with you. That's no problem. But the other kids don't know his trigger points, and they may be playing. Kids can push it, and they'll push you to your limit. But you can't let Bo get to his limit, right? You have to stop it before that. Anyway, my therapist has just told me he's 2 minutes away, which clearly means that I'm actually supposed to be in therapy in 2 minutes. I have so much more to tell you, honestly, about how this has been manicured. Absolutely manicured. These pictures will show it. For example, Finn. Oh, sugar, that's my link. Sorry. These pictures here, this one here, and this one here. If Bo and Finn ever wanted to play roughhousing, right, which Finn always did, but Bo is so fragile and without the strength to open a chip packet, couldn't roughhouse. So Finn had to learn how to roughhouse. He always had to be on the bottom, and he had to, and so I'd be like, okay, Finn, be a dead weight, see if he can pick you up, and I had to manipulate the type of play that they could have. So they both got what they needed. They both got what they wanted. I'd be like, go, Bo, pick him up, do whatever, smother him with a pillow, see if he can get out. Now, Finn could easily, strength-wise, get out. Whoops. Oh, man, now I'm opening all the wrong things. Where is my Carlos Saba from? There, yay! Therapy. So look, I know this video has gone on forever and ever, but there is so much more to it than just, I'm talking about literally 13 years, 14 years this year, and I am still manipulating their relationship to the point where next year at school, I've had to tell Finn not to interfere with Bo because Finn needs to learn to make his own friends. Otherwise, he and Bo will gravitate together. Finn will not make any friends. So I am still having to be there 100% of the time, just like Finn has felt that he has been there 100% of the time. And I gave Finn authority. I gave Finn the authority to look after his brother. I gave him the authority to be the carer as well. Not just me, not just drag, not an extra, but active in it. And he had a role. And for that, he got rewarded beyond anything that I could. I mean, there were days, the expense that I spent. I didn't eat sometimes because I was saving up for the theatre this or for, whatever it happened to be that. I'm genuinely telling you that, I had to make them love each other. They had to be threatened by not having each other. Ask questions, send questions through, because this video is getting really long, but there's so much more to it, and I promise I will try to give you more information. But ultimately, in the end, what you really need to do is you need to reward. You need to be honest. You need to be absolutely honest. And you have to say, you know what, you're right, it's not fair. It sucks. And it sucks for me too. I didn't ask for a kid with autism, right? I didn't ask for a kid with autism. So it sucks for me too. Hey, Carlo. Give me 1 second. I'm just signing off ASD Rocks. 1 second. Yeah, so it sucks. You know what? It sucks for me too. No one takes me out. No one takes me out because I'm going to on some special event. No one's taken me and said, oh, you know what? You made it through speech therapy. Here's a present for you. But I did it for Finn. And so I want you to understand that being there as a parent, right? You are the one that is in control of the relationship between these two kids. Okay? You are in control. You are the parent, you are the judge, the jury, and the executioner. Don't let me hear, I wasn't there, I didn't see it. Because it's not how our society works, and those kids need you. They need you to take control of the situation. And if you see shadow children happening, then you need to up your game and you need to give them something that they are missing out on. Think about, what can I provide to this child while we're at speech therapy? What can I do to make it appealing to this child so that they don't see it as being dragged there? They see it as them being involved. All right, guys, I'd keep going, but seriously, it's already a 50-minute thing and I'm eating into therapy time. So the ASD Rocks, shoot out your questions. Hey, by the way, what's happened in the past has happened in the past. You can't change your kids who are now 16. You know who I'm talking to, right? We spoke about this last night. You can't change the fact that she's blocked out 15 years of this and now you've got this, right? It's happened. What can you do now? What can you do now? Okay, because you can't change the past. However, you can be accountable for the past, and that might make all of the difference. If my mother came to me just once and said, this is probably fucking therapy anyway, Carlo. This is really good. I see you jotting notes down, right? You're like, yeah, don't worry, they can't hear you. They can't hear you. If my mother came to me or my father came to me and said to me, do you know what? You were fucking unfairly treated. And I am so sorry. I see it. Do you know, even as a 40-year-old woman, do you know what that would mean to me? So if your kids are still 16, 17, 18, be accountable. Go walk into them and sit down and say, hey, I want to just put this out there, right? I know that this is the situation. And I just want to let you know that I feel terrible about it and I am so sorry, okay? And I can't do anything to change it. But if there's anything you want now, if there's anything I can do, let me know, because I want to do something. I can't change the past, but I need you to know I am really sorry that I didn't protect you, or I didn't step up for you, or I didn't whatever. It will make a world of difference to that kid. I promise you, it doesn't matter how old they are. Imagine yourself in their position. Imagine your parents. Imagine what would happen if your parents finally turned around and said, hey, you know what? I raised you like shit and I'm really sorry. I was just absent and wasn't there. Imagine how it would make you feel. So it's not too late. It's never too late. You just have to be accountable. Be a parent. I still need my parents. They just don't know how to be parents. All right, go. ASD Rocks. Love you guys.